This is a video response to Dr. Retro's top 5 gaming pickups of 2012. I actually had a surprisingly good 2012. I picked up a couple things that I really wanted, and I picked up a couple things that I never expected to have, but I'm very happy to have them. And I found 4 of the 5 of these locally, which is always cool. You know, it adds a little bit of extra, specialness to the find for whatever reason. And that's especially true up here because I live in the middle of nowhere, and none of these came from any sort of gaming stores or gaming related places. So there's just kind of cool little stories behind them, which I'll get into here. So I couldn't decide what order to do these in, so I'm gonna kind of cheat and go chronologically. So I've been trying to collect a complete licensed NES set for the last several years, and I've picked up most of the expensive ones I needed, except for the most expensive one, Stadium Events. So I saw it kind of creeping up in price and getting near the kind of edge of my possible price range. So when one popped up in March of this year, had kind of a shady eBay listing, but I took a chance on it because I figured because of the shady listing there wouldn't be a lot of competition for it. And it turned out to be right, and I grabbed it for what now is a decent price. At the time it probably wasn't a great steal, but I'm still happy with what I paid for it. So I got Stadium Events out of the way. I've still got about a little over 80 NES games to grab, but it's really a reasonable list. I've got all the tough ones out of the way now, so it's just a matter of time to pick off the rest of the small fries. Another one of my long-time goals has been to get an arcade cabinet into my house. I wasn't too picky. There's quite a few genres I enjoy and games that I like, so I was just waiting to find one. Like I mentioned earlier, I live in the middle of nowhere, so while I've lived here for about 8 years, there's only one place that had any arcade games that I was aware of, and they closed down. I grabbed one of their machines a couple of years ago. It wasn't too exciting though. It was a Virtua tennis cabinet. The only other arcade that anyone in town has been able to tell me about was one that closed down years before I even moved here. So I had pretty much given up on finding a machine that I really wanted or really liked. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, on Kijiji, someone posted a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4-player cabinet that they were selling, and this was back in June. And he just needed space. He was moving to a new house that was smaller, and he had 2 machines, and he wanted to get rid of this one. So I snapped it up and grabbed it that night. I think the listing was online for like 20 minutes. I was just so excited, and it's such an awesome machine to have at home because it's one that I used to play as a kid. And every Tuesday we have a like family night dinner that rotates between different houses. And when my wife's cousins come over, they've got 3 little boys, and we can always get 4 people on this machine every time that it's at our house. And they love coming over here now to dinner because this machine is just a blast for everyone to play together. Now, this next one's kind of my most interesting find of the year. I go to the gym regularly, and the gym that I go to closed down. So I started going to their new branch, which is a little further away, but it's still the next closest one to me. And while I was at this branch, I noticed this little Exertainment logo on a couple of exercise bikes, kind of hidden in the corner. And when I went to check it out, sure enough, they've got 2 of the Life Cycle Exertainment bikes with the Super Nintendos mounted in them with the really rare cart, the Mountain Bike Rally Speed Racer combo. So I asked him if he wanted to sell them, and he just closed down another branch, so he needed room for his equipment. So getting rid of these old exercise bikes was he was happy to do it. Jumped at the chance, so we shook on it. I brought some money in that day, came in with a friend a couple days later and picked them up. And they are just one of the gems of my collection now. They're really cool. They're really obscure. I'm still having a hard time finding much info on them. But I did send some emails out, make some phone calls, and I got what little info I was able to scrounge up. I wrote an article for the Nintendo Age e-zine, which will come out in the January issue. So if you're interested in these, keep an eye on the Nintendo Age front page, and you can read what I found out about them pretty soon. Now, if you've seen my game room in the last several months, you'll notice that it had boxes everywhere because I was just running out of room. No more shelving space, no more storage space. So I was actually getting ready to build some more shelves in my game room. And about that time, Zellers got bought out by Target. So I went to go see if I could just buy some cheap shelving units to stick at home. And they just happened to have all of their video game display cases up for sale. So I offered them a couple $100 less than they had them all listed for, but I told the guy I'd take them all at once so he wouldn't have to sell them piece by piece. They seemed pretty happy with that, and I was definitely happy with that. So I hauled all these shelving units home, but the real gem of them is this Game Boy Advance case. It's just awesome. Like you plug it in, and it's illuminated on the top and the sides. It's got the Nintendo logo all over it, which is awesome, and it's got a little spot in it to put a GBA in, so you can like demo it, which is really awesome. Now, it's not quite a World of Nintendo cabinet, but I'm still pretty happy with it, and it's definitely gonna be housing my games for years and years to come. And this last one probably looks a little weird compared to the next because all the other things are pretty big, expensive, rare. Everyone sees, complete in box Sega Genesis, but the reason this one's on my list is because it was from my childhood. I didn't really start keeping my games until I was around 15 or 16. That was around the PlayStation era for me. And 64 PlayStation stuff. I've got some of my things I bought as a kid and kept them, but nothing before that. I don't have any of my NES stuff, my Sega stuff, my Super NES stuff, my Atari stuff, all gone. But then I was down visiting my grandparents just a little while ago, and they are in the process of getting rid of some clutter at their house. They're giving away things to friends and family first before they start selling stuff. And my grandma bought this system years ago for the grandkids to play when they came to visit, and she asked if I wanted it, and so I jumped at it. Yeah, definitely. So I finally got something that's cartridge based from when I was a kid, so I'm really excited about that. This Genesis will never leave my possession, even if I have to sell everything else off. This is one of those things that I'm just gonna keep until the end. So that was 2012 for me. Really the only one that I was hoping to get in 2012 was at Stadium Events. That was something I'd been, saving and planning for a while. All the rest of these were complete surprises out of the blue and just really made the rest of the year just extra awesome. Even if I just got a Stadium Events, it would have been a good year, but this stuff really was the icing on the cake, and I'm a little sad that years aren't going to stack up for many more to come, I'm sure.